Hello, Courtney here, and I have a yoga topic today that I want to talk to that some people may not. I hope everybody will watch this that's in the yoga world as teachers because I think it's really important. And this happens to me a lot, even though I've been in the field a long time. People will often say to me, why do you always try to cover up your body? Why do you wear such baggy clothes? Why do you wear clothes that are too big for you? And another thing people will say to me is, why do you always carry a hand towel? Or we notice you carry a hand towel. And so one thing that I have myself, and I'm going to explain it also from the student's perspective and teacher's perspective, is I have a condition called hyperhidrosis. And so parts of my body don't sweat at all, and the other parts hyper sweat. So my hands and feet sweat really bad. I have to work out really, really hard and be really, really hot for the rest of my body to sweat, and sometimes it still does not. And so I often will carry a little hand towel or a handkerchief, and I also will wear socks a lot when I practice. And sometimes I wear yoga socks and sometimes I don't. I'll slip them off when I do the standing practice or I'm doing down dog, but other than that, I'll keep them on. It's kind of funny because I own 2 yoga schools, and I've noticed now that a lot of my students wear socks and house shoes to school. We'll take them off if we're practicing or doing something that requires balance or standing. But for the most part, it's just become kind of a norm in my school, and I think it's kind of cute and funny and sweet as well. Some of the reasons that people will come to class, and I've heard other teachers say, very adamantly, you need to be barefoot. I understand the reasons for that. For one thing, the balance, the sensory of your foot, and also the, it just can cause problems with slipping and sliding. But you need to take into consideration, I have taught thousands and thousands of people, and here are some things that you need to know about socks and shoes. Sometimes people will have conditions that they don't want to show their feet. If they're slipping and sliding, you might suggest yoga socks in a very loving and kind way. This might be something that might help you. I don't know if you know about yoga socks, but they have grippers on the bottom. I don't find them to be that comfortable, to be honest with you. But they are a better alternative than when you're standing and balancing than slipping and sliding if you're sweaty. If a person is sweaty, they're often going to be having a higher risk of falling than if they had socks on. The other thing is I've had people over the years that are diabetic and have peripheral neuropathy. A lot of times they don't need to be barefoot because the risk of getting a cut in their foot could cause an infection, which could lead to a blood infection and could actually kill them. So it's very dangerous. So people with certain illnesses or peripheral neuropathy, could have been from chemo treatment, could have been from diabetes. They really will oftentimes need to keep their socks and possibly shoes on. I personally just don't like for my feet to be dirty, so I keep socks on quite a lot. And then in yoga therapy, in my yoga therapy practice, which is intensive cardiac rehab and cancer recovery, a lot of our patients, if they take their shoes off, they can't get them back on. And so it's really challenging. It takes a lot of time and effort to get dressed and get their shoes on. They may have mobility issues. They may shuffle. It could have been a big job just to get them on in the first place. So I don't push it. What I do is I give options, and I let them know that these are the things that are available for them. Sometimes I model that, but myself having hyperhidrosis, I don't like to take mine off either. And, sometimes people are afraid their feet might stink. So be aware that there might be other reasons that people are doing what they're doing. Now, shoes, if they're in chair yoga or something where they can keep them on, if they don't want to take them off, that's understandable. But even in a class that I taught for years, a therapeutic yoga class that utilized props and chairs, but also mat work, I had a guy with cerebral palsy, and he had spasticity, and he had these orthopedic type shoes that kept his feet functioning better. So his mind was fine, but his feet were really heavy and he needed shoes on to practice. So we have to take into consideration that there might be reasons that people are not doing that, even though we think it might be weird or might be unacceptable. The other thing is clothing. So I started practicing yoga in the 70s. I really took it up in the late 80s. And back in those days, people just wore kind of loose, flowy clothes. You would see a lot of just like linen pants with, oh gosh, just, well, I'll show you. Just kind of like this kind of waistband, kind of like I have on today, and looser shirts, or maybe just a t-shirt and a pair of loose pants. They would have, sometimes they would be flowy at the bottom, or they would have like this. You'll see that I have them on today, something to keep you from tripping. That was what everyone wore back then. There was also no internet, and so to find something, you just kind of wore what worked. Now there's this whole movement. We have whole stores and shops dedicated to yoga clothing. You want to set an environment where people feel comfortable to wear what they want to wear. Obviously, wearing tight blue jeans or restrictive clothing is going to make it hard. If your shirt is too loose, your shirt's going to come up and you're going to expose yourself to people. Or if your pants are too low, you might expose yourself to people. So you want to just set an environment where people feel comfortable to wear what they want to wear. And I personally, I went to work today. I had a cancer rehab. I have on kind of just a loose shirt, some kind of flowy pants, and I have on just some Mary Janes, some shoes. So this is what I wore to teach this morning. I can teach just fine in this. I'll be teaching yoga school this weekend for my 300-hour, 500-hour group. And I'll probably will just wear t-shirts and a pair of sweatpants. It's funny because I've noticed that because I do that, a lot of my students feel comfortable. I kind of set the tone. You as a teacher kind of set the tone. A lot of my students feel comfortable. A lot of them do wear yoga clothes, but I noticed that some of them might want to wear their Lulu or Manduka, and that's fine. Some of them will just wear sweatpants or joggers and t-shirts. Others will wear yoga clothes they had 20 years ago. So you want to set a tone for acceptance, and you just never know what's going on. I have a lot of sensory issues. I've been like this as a child. I would throw a fit when I was a child if my parents put like little tights on me or anything that had ruffles. When I was younger, my parents tried to put blue jeans on me and I threw a fit. I had 3 pairs of velour bell bottoms in the 70s that I wore until they were up past my ankles, which was not the style. And I also have a child that's autistic. My ex-husband's dad has autism, and so I don't know if it's a hereditary thing that we all have these sensory issues, but it definitely impacts our clothes. I just have a lot of physical issues. I've also known my clients that have had shingles to have a lot of sensory issues, and they can't stand anything touching them. I wear my clothes what some people would consider a size too big, but for me, it's just normal. I don't want any kind of binding or tightness. I cannot stand a pair of tight jeans or anything like that. And honestly, it changes for me week to week depending on how I'm feeling. So we also don't want to make people feel that, we make assumptions that people might be hiding behind their clothes when there might be something else going on. And I hear that a lot about myself. Why do you hide behind your clothes? And you can't really see your figure. Well, I don't care. I don't care if someone can see my figure. It's none of their business anyway. So just remember, you want to it's not that you should change who you are for the class, but you want to watch your language and the way that you use your advertising, marketing, and branding. That's another thing I have done over the years is in all of my branding, on my website, my Facebook, you don't generally just see petite little Caucasian women in tight clothes or $100 yoga pants. I have pictures of overweight men in leather jackets and blue jeans practicing. I have used pictures of women of all shapes, sizes, nationalities, all ages of people, and I try really hard to use really inclusive photography and language in my branding. And I have just noticed that over the years, my classes look really different than a lot of studio classes that you might go to. So if that's important to you, do that. And I hope this was helpful. I don't know what I'm going to call this video. I think I'm going to call it how to be more inclusive, not exclusive. If you like this content, please thumbs up and please share. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I do all things on simple living, intentional living, financial, and also yoga therapy. Have a great day.